Good afternoon, friends. How are you guys today? Hopefully everybody is having a great day. Good afternoon. I already said that. I'm kind of lost because I'm used to saying good evening. Welcome to your Tuesday evening Facebook Live, but now it's a Tuesday afternoon Facebook Live. My name is Sarah Edwards. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I come to you guys live every Tuesday and Thursday, usually at 7, to do a fun new card. But today, this evening, I am going to a painting rabbit class at the local library. I have never done one of these, and I see them, people post it on Facebook, and then they come out absolutely gorgeous. So I was showing it to Bo yesterday or the day before, and he was like, is it a paint by numbers? And I was like, no, I'm actually going to paint it. So we will see what it looks like when I get done. So I'm going to go with Jessica and Christina later. So I should be back in time. I think it ends at 6:45, and I'm not that far away from it. But I just didn't want to push it to the limits on getting back exactly at 7 and rushing in here and doing a live. So that's why I decided to do it a little bit early. Good evening. Good afternoon, Bev. I'm not going to get this right, I promise. So hopefully you guys have had a great morning so far. You actually might hear a little bit of ruckus. Bo is actually loading up his bobcat and backhoe. He's going to do a job. And I have all the dogs in the craft room with me, so hopefully they're not going to go crazy once they hear him pull away. And I had to lock the back door because Hank knows how to open it to get out. So trying to get everything situated to go live at noon was not easy, but we're here, so that's all that matters. Okay, let's point you over because I have a super fun card for you guys. But before we get started, I'm going to make sure we are live on my Facebook. And I have this little thing to show you guys. Literally, a little thing. So hold on, there we go. Okay, we're good. So this is called All the Little Things. So this is the new paper pumpkin kit that's coming out. Registration started March 11th, and it goes through April 10th. So if you're not a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, definitely let me know, and we can get you situated with it. But you'll be making 9 cards, 3 each of 3 different designs, 9 envelopes. You'll get foil die cuts, shades of spruce ink spot, and your photopolymer stamp set. And let me pull this up a little bit. So it's a free box organizing included. So this little little sleeves, organizing sleeves, fit inside your Paper Pumpkin box, and it is coming free with next month's kit. So I am super excited to get that because all those little ink spots, I don't know what to do with, but now I will have something to do with them. So I just wanted to show you guys that. I printed it the other day and forgot to show you last week. Okay, so let's work on today's cards. So I know I've done a class to go featuring the Fancy Flora designer series paper, the embellishments and the ribbon, and then the Something Fancy stamp set. But I wanted to do something a little bit different with this same set. So we are using the designer series paper. We're going to use the two-tone Flora stamp set, the Something Fancy stamp set, and we're going to create a fun kind of fancy fold. I love doing different folds, and I actually found this from my friend Elaine's site. I think it was her site. But this is the card she created. I did mine a tiny bit different. I added some ribbon to the bottom, and I added some gems, some rhinestones to the top. But I thought it turned out kind of cute. So I'm excited to show you guys how to put this together. So I did leave the ribbon a little bit longer just so they could tie it back up if they wanted to. But then when you open it, I stamped a little flower on the inside. I don't know if you can see it, and nobody probably would notice but me, but I had ink on my fingers, and I got some right there, and I was so irritated, but you know what? I still used it because perfection is what you make it, and I think this is perfection, so it is perfect. So I'm just going to tie this back up, put my little clip in there, and then tie this back into a pretty bow. And this is what we're going to be making tonight, this afternoon, this morning, whatever it is. So there you go. So I started with the designer series paper. It's 6x6 fancy Flora, and we are actually going to use one full sheet on one card. So I think you get 48 sheets, so you can make 48 of these absolutely stunning, gorgeous cards with all of the designer series paper. I know in the class to go, everybody got a full pack of it, and it was so much fun. Let's see, I have the two-tone Flora, and I actually did forget to bring in the Something Fancy stamp sets. But it was right on my desk where I had left it. So these are the two that come in the suite. If you do get the entire suite, you get everything on this page, and it's on one bundle. So you can get all of this for the one bundle price. So it's two-tone Flora and the Something Fancy. I'm just going to use this little happy birthday right here. And then, even though there are dies that match it, I wanted to bring in my stylish shape dies. And I used the square. You could definitely use the circles if you wanted to, but I used the second and the third largest squares. And that is how I created this little square up top. So that is all the product that we used. Now we can start crafting. So I have a piece of Balmy Blue, and this measures 5.5 by 11. So it's definitely a different card base than what we're used to. So if you have your 11.5 by 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, you're just going to cut it at 5.5 and leave it at 11. So we're going to do a couple score marks in it. And I already know you guys are going to hate me for this, but I had to do it. So you're going to put your 11-inch side up at the top. You're going to grab your scoring tool, and we're going to score it at 1 1/4 of an inch. That one's super easy. And then we're going to score it at 3 3/8. So this is 3 1/4 right here. We're going to move it over one little notch and score it at 3 3/8. I'm going to rotate it and do it on the same exact side. So 1 1/4 and 3 3/8. You could definitely score it along one side, but I think it's just easier if you know these two score marks is where you have to score, and you can just flip your paper around. That's my theory anyways. So I'm going to push that aside and put our cardstock aside and bring in our trimmer. I didn't pre-cut this one because I kind of wanted to show you guys how to do it to be able to get all of your measurements and only need one sheet of your 6x6. So our first cut mark is going to be at 5 1/4. So I'm going to take this off, and you could use this on the inside of your card if you wanted to, or it's just scrap. That's the only piece we're not going to be using. So now I'm going to flip it over so my 6-inch side is up, and I'm going to cut it at 4 inches. I'm going to cut it at 2 inches. And then this last piece, I'm going to cut it at 1 inch. So I did put all of these measurements in before I went live. We're hopefully going to make 2 of them today, but I just wanted to show you, the other one's cut. I just wanted to show you how to cut and score it before we start putting it together. So now I have 2 pieces that are 2 inches by 5 1/4, and I have 2 pieces that are 1 inch by 5 1/4. So I'm going to set these aside, bring in our card base, and we're going to just start folding on our score marks. Good evening, Barbara, or good afternoon, Barbara. Whatever it is, I'm not going to get it right today. So I'm just going to, sorry, I should have been telling you what I'm doing instead of yakking. So I'm going to fold this down, give it a good crease, and then this 1 1/4 inch strip, I'm going to fold backwards. So give that a good crease. I'm going to flip it over and do the same thing. Fold this, and then fold this 1 inch, 1 1/4 inch piece back, and watch. Voila! It is a perfect match, and you have just created your fun fold. So now all we have to do is glue things together and do a little bit of stamping. So I do have a piece of our basic white, and this is 4 by 5 1/4. And I just want to do a little bit of stamping on this one before we do anything else. This is a brand new ink pad. I don't remember if I told you guys, but I was pulling my Night and Navy out of the little shelf that I have it on, and it fell out of my hands and it cracked the entire thing. I was so sad. So I had to order another one, and obviously I haven't used it since I ordered it. So this is brand spanking new. I haven't even put the label on the front of it. So I'm going to open up my Night and Navy, and I brought in my Balmy Blue. So I want to start with the flower that doesn't have any ridges. And what I mean by ridges is it kind of like, I feel like this one has a little bit more ridges and this one's just a solid image. So I'm going to start with the Balmy Blue in my solid image. And I just want to come down here and stamp it in the corner. You could do a couple of them if you wanted to. I'm just going to leave it at one. And then I'm going to come in with the more detailed piece, stamp it in the Night and Navy. And the best way to get this to line up is to line that center kind of half moon to this center half moon. And I might have to pull it out of the screen a smidgen. Oh well, I'm not going to be able to see through it anyway. So we are going to pretend that I can see through it, and we're going to stamp that. There's always, oh my gosh, I will never ever be able to do that again. Literally, that was spot on. I can assure you I will not be able to do that again. Oh, it's blurry. Hopefully it's clearing up a little bit. I just looked at the screen. I definitely won't be able to do that ever again. That was kind of a little crazy. I closed the inks and I probably should have left them open. So I'm going to set this aside because that's going to be the piece that goes on the inside. And I want to bring in this little square. So I did where I just kind of turned it so the points were up top and the points were at the side. So that's how I'm going to stamp it. So I'm going to bring in the same two colors, and I want the flower down at the bottom. I want that to be right in the edge of my paper. I'm going to rotate it and do the same thing up top. There we go. I'm going to clean these as I go because I think the next card is different colors. Same paper, but just different colors. And I want to ink up the other image. I got a little smudge. Let's clean that. It's a brand new ink pad, so I need to be super gentle. And then I'm just going to come in and I'm going to try to line these up again, but it's no guarantee. Oh, that's actually not too shabby. I'm going to rotate it and do it up top. You can kind of see through the centers, and that's how you know you're lined up. I just said I wasn't going to be able to do that again, and I think I did it again. Bring in my happy birthday, and I think I want this in Night and Navy. Ink that up, and I'm just going to come in and stamp that right in the center. There we go. Wash everything off. That's literally all the stamping we have to do. There's not much stamping. The designer series paper literally does all the work for us. So go ahead and grab your adhesive. Put some adhesive on the back. I'm going to set this right in the center. I'm going to set that, pull that to the side just so it can dry. And then we can start working on our card. Super easy card, and it's a super wow card. This is going to go right in the center. Just give that a good press, and now we just have to decorate the outside. So these two pieces are, remember, 2 inches by 5 1/4, but these are a tiny bit over 2 inches. We could definitely cut these down to fit exactly, but I just tucked it into the edge. Usually we kind of go in the center of it, so it's the same on all 4 corners. But just to save you guys from having to trim this down to the 3/8 and the 5/8 and the ones that we hate, I just tucked it right up to the corner, and we're not going to see it anyways. So that's what I do, just to prevent you guys from having to cut extra pieces. So I'm going to tuck that off, and now all 3 corners have that nice little edge. I'm going to close this up. Now this side, you could use either side of the designer series paper. I didn't cut it so it kind of flowed because there was a little gap in it, but I actually think I like the outside piece. So I think I'm just going to go with it. So I'll set this down right there. So there's one side, it's done. Let's do the other side. And then all we have to do is put our embellishments on the fronts. And that is how easy these cards are to put together. There we go. Sounds like Bo is heading out. So I should be able to open the door. I was so excited to be able to have the door opened doing a Facebook Live to have the beautiful sunshine shining in. But I didn't want the dogs to follow them, and then I'd have to go yell and chase, and it's just a hot mess. So there we go. Isn't that super cute? Okay, so now let's put this piece on. So I'm going to line up both of these edges into the crack, and then I'm going to flip it over. So I'm going to go ahead and still line those up to the crack. I want to grab some tear tape. And I'm just going to put some tear tape along the left side. And I want to put a little smidgen right here. But I just want to make sure, let me get my hands out of the way. I just want to make sure that I'm not going to be hanging over the edge. So there's that. Hopefully it isn't my connection, Bev. Hopefully we're still good. It says we are, so hopefully, sorry about that. So now, when I flip this up, I'm going to line these up again, and now it will just be attached to the one side. There we go. And you could leave it like this if you wanted to, but I wanted to bring in some ribbon, some coordinating ribbon, so I brought in some fresh freesia, and that's the last of it. So hopefully this is enough. I probably should order some more. Take the tape off the end, and then it's stuck to my finger. So what I do for the tear tape, or for the ribbon, is I fold it in half, and then at the crease mark, I put a mini glue dot. This is, oh, there's that piece of tape on my finger. So this is going to help hold your ribbon in one spot. If I can get it centered on my glue dot. There we go. And then I'm just going to come in, pick my card up, put this kind of where I think I want it, and that's going to hold my ribbon in place in the back. So when I flip this around, oh, that was plenty of ribbon. I can tie my bow. I might have been able to get 2 cards out of that. There we go. We can just pull these to make them a pretty bow. I like to put my, let me get that off my finger. There we go. I like to put my thumbs inside the little loops and give it a good pull. That kind of helps kind of shape your bows. You can definitely, if it needs a haircut, give it a haircut. I am going to leave these a little bit longer so they can open and close it. And last but not least, let's grab some rhinestones and sprinkle them on our card. And then we'll have one more to put together. And I won't go through all of the dimensions, and everything's already pre-cut and scored. But it's just another color in this pack that is absolutely phenomenal. The whole pack is. Everything they make, all of their designer series paper is amazing. And this is definitely overkill on the gems, the rhinestones, but who cares? It is your card. You could put a whole sheet on one card if you want to. So there you go. So there is one, there is two, and let's make one more. Okay, sorry, it's all the way at the bottom. Never fails. Oh, instead of using the rhinestones, if you wanted to pull in the gems that match this whole set, you totally can as well. I brought those in to say something and I forgot. So our last card, just going to go ahead and fold on all of our pieces. And I like to just make sure it lines up on the edges because sometimes it moves when we're scoring. So there we go. So let's bring in our basic white, and I have Evening Evergreen and Soft Succulents. So you want to always start with the lightest color, which is the soft succulent in this case. Just make sure it's cleaned off. And I'm going to ink this up. Looks like I probably just re-inked this ink pad, so it's going to be a little bit dark, a lot darker than I'm anticipating. So let's see what, okay, that's a little better. That's why there's always two sides to a piece of paper. So I'm actually going to do that same thing to this one. I'm going to stamp off once. So when I come over here, it's not as bright. So we're just going to do all of our stamping at once. Here we go. Now, flip it over and nobody will ever know, right? As long as nobody tattles on me, nobody will know. So let's open the Evening Evergreen. I'm going to ink this up and I'm going to try to get it. Oh, well, this one is going to be upside down. Maybe we'll have this one at the top of our card. There we go. It's perfect. Nobody will ever know. We could do another one at the bottom. That's what I get for trying to do two things at once, right? So there's that. There we go. And I actually think I am going to put another one at the bottom. I don't know if that looks silly sitting up at the top. So I'm going to ink up. I'm going to flip this over and stamp. And then hopefully get this going the right direction. Oh, and I just did it again. Okay, maybe we're just going to leave this one alone. Oh, well. Oh, no, I actually think that might work out. We're just going to leave it. If I had another piece beside me, I probably would use it. But you know what? Perfection is what you make it. Isn't that what I just said? And it's perfect. I did close up the ink before I stamped my happy birthday. Here we go. So they're super easy cards to put together, and they are definitely a wow card. I would consider this a wow card. So there we go. Oh, thanks for joining, Jill. No worries. I know I had to change it today, so thanks for everybody who could join. And you'll be able to watch the replay later. So there's that. Let's grab these pieces. We're going to tuck them in underneath. Remember, I'm tucking this all the way into the little crack. And this one I actually might, oh no, I love that side too much. You can use both sides of the designer series paper, but I haven't because I like the front side better. Here we go. Let's do this one. Tuck all of that all the way up into the corner. There we go. We're going to open open this back up and put this piece on the front, and we're almost done. All we have left to do is add our ribbon, our gems, and our sentiment in the center. Excuse me. So this is the front, so I'm going to flip this over, just line up my points, grab my tear tape. There's one little smidgen. There's another piece. And just make sure you're not going off the edge. That's probably the biggest thing to worry about. There we go. I'm going to set that right in the center. And then this one, I actually brought in the Evening Evergreen ribbon for this guy because I thought he matched perfectly. So I'm going to cut 14 inches of ribbon. I actually have my ruler sitting underneath me so I knew the size of the scoring. So let's see if 14 inches is enough. It's easier to cut more than to add some to it. So this time I'm going to lay the ribbon down. I'm going to close this and I'm going to lay it this way to see if I can get it a little bit higher. Okay, well 14 inches is a little tight, so I would maybe do 16 inches, add 2 inches to it. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to tie a bow. Well, I don't know. Yeah, no, we're just going to tie a little loop-de-doo. Yeah, 14 inches is definitely not long enough. And I can't even get my fingers in there to just do a little loop-de-doo. Okay, he's a knot. So whoever gets this card in the mail will have to open their knot. So there you go. So there is the Fancy Flora Designer Series paper. Honestly, I think you could really use any color cardstock, any color ink. The paper is just absolutely stunning. The paper does all of the work for you. I will add the little gems to this card once we get done, but you guys kind of get the gist of what I was trying to get at. So when you open your card, you're going to have a beautiful flower on the inside as well. And if you're so lucky to get this one in the mail, you're going to have to open your knot. And you are going to get 2 flowers. One is correct, the other one's upside down. But you know what? It's okay because I'm still going to mail it out. So hopefully you guys enjoyed today's live, this afternoon's live. Thank you so much for everybody who could have joined. And if you are watching the replay, definitely, that's totally okay. If you do need anything, any of the supplies that I used in today's Facebook Live, please feel free to reach out. If I don't respond to you right away, know that I will get back to you. Anyway, if you need anything, thank you, Jill. Good evening, good afternoon, Valerie. If you need anything at all, please feel free to reach out. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.